Welcome to Family Focus, a program produced by Family Service Association. I'm your host, Mike Moran. We're very, very glad that you've tuned in to this edition of the program as we enjoy the month of October, the fall season, and the holidays will be here before we know it. We have a very interesting subject to share with you today, and I get the good fortune of having two of the colleagues with whom I have the good fortune of working with here as guests on the program. We're going to talk about the Adult Day Health Services that are available at Family Service Association. There are 3 different locations where this program is provided, and we're going to talk about them all, and we're going to learn from the people who make it happen. Well, a couple of them. It's a bigger staff than the 2 great people that we have here today. But to my immediate right is Nicole Medeiros, known to her friends as Nikki. We'll call you Nikki.
Yes.
Who is our Director of Adult Day Health Services. And then at one of our locations, which is located in Rainham, and we welcome our new affiliate stations in Rainham and Taunton in particular, among the new affiliates that we have. We have Trista Tate, who really is in charge of our Countryside Adult Day Health Program located in Rainham. Ladies, welcome. Nice to be nice to have you on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, you've done this before, Nikki. It's been a while.
I have.
You remember how long ago?
I think it was a couple years ago that I was on with Maria.
Okay, with Maria Castro, our great friend, who's also from the Adult Day Health world.
Yes.
And Trista, here you are for the first time.
Here I am.
But this is a good fit for you because one of the things that Trista does in her spare time is to, of which she has very little, is to really market her program out in the Rainham, Taunton area, and we'll get to that. We want to find out a little bit about you because I'm always interested when I get to talk to people, whether they're from our agency or whether they're from some of our community partner agencies. How did you get in the field? I always think there's always a unique story of how people drifted into the social service field as opposed to selling insurance or teaching school or whatever. Nikki, in your case, how did you get involved in this field in particular?
So I think for me, I just always wanted to be with helping folks. Like it's just something that I always was drawn to, even as a young child. My mom talks about it all the time, that there was a young girl in elementary school that was blind and I was her eyes. She hooked onto my arm, you know? So it was always kind of innate in me that I would be in a field that I helped others.
Isn't that an interesting story? And you saw the benefit that your friendship and assistance to her provided.
Yeah, at a very young age. I mean, that was like 2nd grade that started happening.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it's just been part of who I am forever. So I don't think anybody in my family was surprised when, I went into the field of, medical facility and helping and social work. And
so what was your first entree? Did you work in another kind of a setting?
I did. I worked in a hospital setting. I worked on a traumatic brain injured and psych unit. It was a locked facility that people lived there for 2 years before coming to Family Services, and I've been here now 12 years.
12 years you've been here.
12 years.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
And all that time with our Adult Day Health programs?
Correct.
Yeah. Trista, let's get a little bit of your biographical information.
Sure. I went to Bristol Plymouth High School and I got my CNA license through school. And I worked as a CNA for 5 years. And
Now, not everybody knows what a CNA is.
Certified Nursing Assistant.
Yeah. The
I did that
alphabet soup of social service and healthcare.
Exactly. I did that for 5 years and wanted a little bit of a change, and Family Service had a job posted, and I started out as a per diem program aide at Countryside in Rainham. I took the position as an activity director, and Nikki was kind enough to hand me the program coordinator position of her baby, which was Countryside, and I've been doing this position for about 2 years now.
For those who are watching at home, watching on their computer screen, or even watching on their phone, which you can do, we'll get to that later. Let's define for folks just what an Adult Day Health program is. They might even see vehicles in their community, whether they're from our agency or from others that have the words, but they might not know exactly what it is. So let's go to school on just what an Adult Day Health program is, Nikki.
Sure. So Adult Day Health is a medical day program our programs operate Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And there's always a nurse on site. So we can do medication, we can do insulins, we can do oxygen, we could do a G-tube if needed. There's also therapeutic activity that's done during the course of the day. They get about 4 hours of therapeutic activity. All the sites have a social worker. We serve breakfast, lunch, and a snack while they're with us, which is all regulated through the government and through USDA. So they're telling us exactly what components to serve, and they're
Kind of
getting
strict standards as
Absolutely.
to how you administer the
Yeah.
activities of the program, including the food that you
food.
serve.
Yep. Yep. And what's great about Family Services is we have our own fleet of vehicles, so we're able to do probably 95% of the transportation we do, both ambulatory and wheelchair vans we have. So, you know, that makes us a little unique
Boy,
too.
there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
Who typically are the persons who are served, the participants in the program? Because it says adult day health, so obviously this is not a children's program, but describe, if you will, of the categories, I hate to put people in categories, but the categories of individuals that are served at the program.
So we can take anyone over the age of 18. All three of our programs are a little unique. So the two in Fall River, one is more mental health driven and the other one is a little more elderly driven, not saying that they don't commingle amongst each other,
Sure.
because of course they do.
So it's adults with a disability of some kind.
And they need to have some type of ADL needs, so
Okay.
assistance
And
with daily living.
Assistance with daily living,
Yeah.
sure.
And Trista's population's a little different. She can talk about, you know, her kind of niche if she.
Since I've been at Countryside in 6 years, when I started, it was more of the geriatric population. Now, through a little bit of marketing and meeting other agencies, I've been getting a little bit more of the mental health. But I do have a contract with the VA in Brockton, so I also have a lot of veterans in my program currently enrolled.
Okay, so let's get back to the admission criteria. If you have an adult with some sort of medically diagnosed disability, or an elder person who is looking more for, who may still be, and all of your individuals that you serve are living in the community, but there may be a need for them to have activities during the day that are monitored and that sort of keep an eye on and are geared toward improving their health and independence in the community and remaining in the community for as long as possible. Is that an accurate way to
Absolutely.
describe it?
Yeah.
So let's again, we've mentioned that there were 3 programs. There were 2 in Fall River, and we'll give the specific locations shortly, and 1 in Rainham. That seems, and I know the answer to this, so I'm going to give you an easy question. It seems, why 2 in Fall River and 1 in Rainham? The program in Rainham several years ago was run by the Visiting Nurse Association.
Correct.
And they approached Family Service and said, you know, this adult day health thing, you guys do a bang-up job at that. Can we bring you in on our program? It was pretty much like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you saw the facility, and Nikki, that was your program,
That was my
right?
program. Yep.
Initially. I know how I feel when I walk into your program site. It's bright, it's cheery,
Yep.
it's well equipped.
Yep.
That doesn't just happen by accident, but I mean, it was a well-maintained program site to begin with,
Correct.
right? So what goes on there? What goes on? And we'll talk specifically about Countryside Adult Day Health in Rainham, but it may be typical of all our 3 adult day health programs and others that exist in the community. So a family says, you know, we have mom, or we have dad, or we have, you know, this relative, this person a spouse who can utilize the services of this program. And it also, we can talk about the respite quality of it too, provides respite for families who are working, have, you know, many responsibilities, but want to make sure that their loved one is participating in a quality program. What typically happens? And I ask you that, Trista, because it looks like it's just fun. But I know there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes in addition to that. So if a family has an interest, we're going to talk about what to do if you do have an interest. They could call you and visit the program and see what goes on?
Absolutely, yeah. So you can call and set up a tour We typically recommend that when you do come in, whoever you are looking for the program for, that you bring them in as well, but it's not required. You can come in looking for mom, dad, spouse, whoever it might be, by yourself. You can do a second tour with them once you come into my office, and we sit down and I give you guys the chance to ask any questions that you may need. A lot of people aren't familiar with adult day health, you know, so there's a lot of things that they want to know. So I'll go through that whole process with them, do the tour, and depending on what their insurance is, depicts how I go about the admission process. So everybody's a little bit different. Mass Health has a different admission process than what the VA does or what a private person does.
Well, you've anticipated my next question, which is, you know, how are the services paid for? And you mentioned Mass Health. Some people have their health insurance coverage through Mass Health.
Yeah.
If they're Mass Health eligible, they've already got a leg up on the process. And I would imagine too, Nikki, that there's an assessment evaluation of the individual's needs before they are enrolled in the program. Take us through that process.
So we have to get on every admission, whether they're paid through Mass Health or the VA or their private pay, we kind of stick to the same standards. The form may look a little different, but it's the same standards. We get admission paperwork from their primary care doctor. So, and we take care of that. We fax it over, we follow up, we work on getting that back from the doctor. So that admission paperwork is going to have all their diagnoses on it. It's going to have all their medications that they're currently taking. It's going to have allergies. It's going to have, we require that we have a diet order on everyone, so we know if there's any dietary restrictions. So that's the big part of the admission process.
Sure, if you're dealing with populations that have either they're elders, or they might be frail, or they might have some disability or some circumstance where there are dietary restrictions, all that, it isn't like here's what everybody gets and that's it. It's
Nope.
And it's not just the meals that are tailored that way, it's the activities and the way in which you monitor
Absolutely.
the participation of the folks in the program.
Right.
So that's all carefully so in other words, you don't, if you have a loved one that needs an adult day health program, you don't need to have all the answers, because they do when
right.
you walk in the door.
Or you try to, yes.
You'll go through, and I sat in with you and I participated in that process, and I know how thorough it is in terms of the give and take and the questions and answers about what goes on at the program. What happens, let's say an individual at that point qualifies for adult day health services, they want very much to be involved in the program, then what happens?
So that's when we would start those admission paperwork to the primary care doctor, and we would work, as quickly as we can to get it back. And then again, depending on insurance, would depend on the next step. Some people need to have screenings done through like Bristol Elder Services or Old Colony Elder Services, and then there's also another step after that we have to go through the Mass Health portal and do a prior authorization. But that's for Mass Health members. If they're through the VA, it's a little different. The VA sends us an approval. We work with the contracts coordinator. We get the approval through them.
It's a little quicker.
Yeah, it's a little faster. Mass Health admissions are taking a little longer because there's 3 big steps to them. Whereas if it's a private pay, it's a matter of just getting that paperwork back from the primary care doctor and they're ready to go.
Well, you've given us a lot to think about. We're going to take a short time out. I've got 100 more questions for you because it's fascinating. And I having visited all of our sites as recently as this morning, and know from just an observer's perspective the incredible value of the service that you guys provide with your staff and the enjoyment of the people who participate. But stay right there. We're going to take a short time out. You're watching Family Focus, a program produced by Family Service Association, and we will be back with more information from our guests after we break for this word. Please stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Carol Nagel, President and CEO of Family Service Association. A lot has changed since the day when our agency began its long journey of providing services to our community. In the beginning, our mission was a simple one: to provide caring and helpful services designed to improve the lives of the individuals and families who live and work here. And while the programs we provide have changed over the years, and the problems facing the community have become more challenging, Family Service is still here 125 years later to answer the call. As we look to the future, we'll continue to work together with our many community partners and to find new and better ways to bring our services to those who need them. Whether it's providing a warm, welcoming learning environment for preschool children, offering professional counseling, or helping elders maintain their good health and independence, Family Service remains committed to the spirit of that very same mission of service that guided us when we took those few steps in 1888. Please visit our website and learn more about our agency, its programs, and our long history of service to the community.
Welcome back. We thank you for watching Family Focus, program produced by Family Service Association. Interestingly, some of the footage of that little public service announcement that you just saw was shot at Trista's program, and it was before you were there.
Some of it.
Yeah. Oh, were you there during some of that?
Yeah,
I was.
she definitely
Yeah.
was.
Yep.
You were just keeping a low profile.
I tried to.
In those
Yes.
days. And well, those days are over.
Right.
Because you're on Family Focus.
Exactly.
You're going to be signing autographs before you know it. Let's reintroduce our terrific guest. Nicole Medeiros is here. She is the Director of Adult Day Health Services at Family Service Association. And Trista Tate, who is based out at Countryside Adult Day Health, which is on Main Street?
244 North Main Street.
244 North Main Street in Rainham. Did I say Asona? Did I
No,
say
you
that?
didn't.
Okay. All right. I never know what I'm going to say. In Rainham, Massachusetts. And Nikki, we're more likely to find you pretty much anywhere, but,
Right.
but your home base is located in Fall River. Our Adult Day Health site, one of two, is on Bay Street at 397 Bay Street,
Correct.
which is part of the Master Builder Ministries Eastgate Christian Academy facility. They have given us space in there to run Nikki's program, which is called the Gen Center. And it has a great long history, and it's such a warm and comfortable place. And our third location for Adult Day Health is located at 21 Father Davalos Boulevard in Fall River, which is really in the neighborhood of where Eastern Avenue and Brayton Avenue come together, and it's called Cornerstone Adult Day Health. If you want to know more about the locations, if you want to know more about the specifics of the program, and I'm hoping that our director, Steve, is going to put up on the screen our web address, which is www.frfsa.org. And there it is. And if you visit that website, you're going to find a series of tabs at the top of the page. One of them says Agency Programs. Just select that, select Adult Day Health, and you can learn all about the great features of this program and the incredible things that it does for those who participate and their families. Nikki, on a typical day, and I've done this, as you know, I walk in the door. If I spend a good portion of the day, what am I going to observe?
So you're going to observe exercise every single day. We do about a half hour of...
So everyone who participates has to be an Olympic athlete?
No.
Okay.
It's from seated to standing. It's whatever they can do, but we do want them to get up and move a little bit and kind of get the blood flowing, get those bones moving, get those muscles moving. So that's kind of how all three of the Adult Day Health programs start their morning that way with some exercise, and one of the staff is usually running that. We do orientation, so we go over, the day and if there's anything going on in the news or what people did over the weekend or what they're going to do for the weekend, and just kind of have a nice conversation group, really kind of get to know them.
But see, this is what the magic of Adult Day Health is for me as an observer. And after I had conversations over the years with you and Maria Castro, whose name we invoked a little bit earlier, and Trista and others, is that to the casual observer, it might seem like casual conversation,
Right.
light exercise, a great meal, some activity, maybe a movie later in the day.
Possibly.
But behind the scenes, there are things going on because you have a case record on each of the individuals who were there. You know what are their strengths and their challenges, what are the things that they need to work on. You have a nurse on staff who is there throughout the program day. So it's not called Adult Day Health for nothing. It
Correct.
really is about that. Yet to those who might show up and participate. I mean, I'll walk in there and I'm walking down the hall and I'm getting to your site and I'll hear music, and so there'll be an entertainer in there.
Yep.
singing along with the participants and taking requests, and it's suddenly the place turns into a little nightclub. I mean, it's like
That does happen.
It's a lot of fun.
Definitely happens.
Yeah.
I saw the Macarena done recently by a lot of our participants over at Cornerstone Adult Day Health. But again, yes, it is fun, but it's about a whole lot more. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and we don't actually push the medical piece of it to the participants.
Right.
We want them to kind of forget about that piece of it. We really push that towards the family members and the caregivers and the loved ones that are involved, so that they feel safe and they know that their loved one or their husband or dad or whoever is coming to our program, they get that piece of it, that it's medical, and it is medical. But to the participants, we want them to be there having fun. We want them to be there
Right.
enjoying themselves. If they're not having fun and they're not enjoying themselves, then we're doing something wrong, and we need to change what we're doing on a daily basis.
You and I were both present as we taped this program yesterday at a meeting where someone was talking about the benefits for, in this case, her mother, who attends Cornerstone Adult Day Health,
Yep.
and says that her attitude, her level of activity, her level of interest in life in general has gone up because of the benefits of having that social interaction with other people at Adult Day Health. Because the alternative in her case would be she'd be in an apartment by herself
All day.
and maybe not eating right, maybe skipping a meal, maybe maybe being a little depressed.
Right.
So there's an extraordinary level of benefit just to have that social interaction, and the decor and the holiday celebrations that you do that are themed
Yes.
days and things like
Yes.
that. You guys get kind of creative with that stuff, don't you?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
We just finished up National Adult Day Health Week. Was the third week in September. So that kind of kicks off the holidays for us. It's the start of the ramp up for the Adult Day Health programs, and really the end of summer for us and the beginning of, we're getting into all the holiday seasons. We make the holidays very special for our clients. We cook a complete Thanksgiving meal for them. We cook a Christmas dinner for them. They, or a holiday dinner.
You cook a Christmas dinner.
I cook, right, exactly. So it's very important. Cooking for them is something that I enjoy. It brings me back to why I do what I do. So it's very important for me to do that for them. Some of them, that's the only big meal that they're going to get for the
Sure.
holiday, So they're going to go home and have a TV dinner, or maybe Meals on Wheels for Christmas, or Thanksgiving. So I want to make sure they're going to get a home cooked meal.
So your referrals kind of come from all over. I would imagine that
They
there
do.
are physicians who say to a family member of a person who qualifies, they could really benefit from an Adult Day Health program. So they, who would the other people typically that would make referrals of individuals, other than word of mouth, which is always a great strength of your program, but who do you hear from in the community?
People like Bristol Elder Services or Old Colony, they also will be able to make referrals to us. So if they have somebody that they think could benefit from Adult Day Health, I've had case managers from those call me and give me their information, and I'll reach out to the client and set up a tour, or they'll just kind of tell the family member, hey, I know about this program, you really should look into it. They'll call me and set the tour up. Or it comes from some of the doctors as well.
Well, I do want to again reference our website, because if people go to that web address and look at several things, among the tabs, as we mentioned, that has a detailed description of each program, there's also a page that has all of our various locations with photos of each site. So the people who come to Countryside Adult Day Health in Rainham are, where do they live? What are some of the communities? Obviously,
You would ask that question.
Well, okay, so because I have the contract with the VA, there's not many Adult Day Healths that the VA allows them to attend. So we kind of go a little bit further for our folks in the VA. Currently, I have transportation that goes to Whitman, Wareham, Halifax, Plimpton. We've had one in Carver. I have a couple other folks that are either private pay or Mass Health that are in places such as Berkeley, Freetown, Assonet, Rainham, Taunton, Dighton, Rehoboth.
Bridgewater.
Bridgewater, all of the Bridgewaters.
but all your programs have available openings for new individuals to
All of them.
Absolutely.
enroll.
Yep.
All of them.
So if whether one of the two locations in Fall River are more suited to your family's needs, or
Yep.
if you live in the communities that Trista just, boy, that's a lot of places.
It is a lot.
Just listed, maybe our countryside adult day health site might be just the ticket. And
And Fall River is wider than Fall River too.
Yes.
A lot of people think we just service the Fall River area. We're going right now as far south as Acushnet. So we come back through Acushnet, Dartmouth, New Bedford, Westport, all of Fall River, Somerset, Swansea, and Seekonk right now. So it's wide.
So you guys cover a lot of
We
real
do.
estate.
I just don't want people to think that just because the sites are in Fall River,
Right.
that's the only territory that
Right.
we
Sure.
we do have a lot of flexibility because we own our own vehicles. So
And the other thing, in the brief time that we have remaining, that I've always been very, very proud of in the transportation staff of our agency is that where it may be a certain approach with transporting children, which we do, when you're transporting people that may have disabilities or they're frail elders, the drivers are trained to do door-to-door
Absolutely.
transportation,
Absolutely.
assisting where needed. You mentioned it earlier, Nikki. If they use a wheelchair, we have vans that accommodate and lock down wheelchairs
Yep.
so that they can travel to and from the program. So it's, I can't get out because of transportation issues. There may not be an issue there.
we try really hard to accommodate as much as we can. We do try to do things economically, and we don't want to be going by the same house 6 times in a day.
Sure.
But if somebody really needs the program and we can make it work, then we're going to make it work. It's very important to us. And it's door-to-door service at every single stop. Whether you need assistance or you don't need assistance, that's part of their job. They're going to get out at every stop and help.
Well, one of the things that we always try to stress when we have folks from our agency who appear on the program is that we're a mission-driven agency. We try to do exactly what you just described, to try to get the people the service that they need and really try to bend over backwards to make that happen. Thank you on behalf of the families that you serve for everything that you do. And you did this is your premier program, Trista. So this is where we commit you. Will you come back again?
I will.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Trista Tate, Nicole Medeiros, we thank you both very much. We thank you
you.
for
Thank
all
you.
that you do with Adult Day Health, and we wish you continued success.
Thank you.
And we
Thank you.
thank you for watching this edition of the program. We thank you for tuning into Family Focus, and we will say goodbye until next time. Take care.